Hey everybody, I'm Deborah Westbrook. Today is December 11th, 2024. Welcome on Facebook and welcome on YouTube. So I've called the channel on YouTube Be Brilliant. Why is that? Simply because in your humanity, you access your divinity. And in that, you discover who you are in authenticity and freedom. We're all doing it. We're all detaching away from things that don't matter anymore, the lies we've believed, the belief systems that had no credence. So in my curiosity, I explore a whole different bunch of topics relating to science and spirituality. So the last time we talked about the Hermetic Principle of as above, so below. Today, we're going to integrate a little bit more reality into that by going with the first one that says that the all is mental and the universe is mental. So let's get started. So I'm divinely human, as you are, placed in time for such a time as this. There's no doubt about it. You didn't start here. You're not going to stop here. So why are you here? You're not here to comply with any belief system, no matter how good it is. You're here to discover and evolve from many different belief systems. And in that, you're going to discover your authenticity and freedom, and you're going to ascend in light. That's what brilliance means. Right here, right now, I do not ever disregard my humanity because it is who I am in this realm. And so I learn to access my humanity in my divinity from my higher self, from God, however you call it. And it seems that there's many foundational beliefs that provide the foundation of creating this authenticity. I've started reading the Kybalion, which I explore a lot of different belief systems because I'm curious and I'm fascinated by some of these beliefs. So I'm going to break down the second one for you today. Now, there's many beliefs about God, about source, and each seem in some way, they hold a book, they hold a path, they have a way, or they have a plan to follow. I choose to go deeper. Why? Because we're not structured into a belief system. We're flowing in our divinity in exploration of who we are, of who I am. So life is a journey and it's in constant change. And if you get locked down to one belief system, you're going to limit the access of your brilliance, your creativity, and your authenticity. Because even as the universe changes, even as life constantly changes in time, and nature changes, animals change, so do you. So to lock yourself into one system that defines your way totally denigrates who you are to some extent. Open up your heart to explore. This is just my suggestion. So I choose to go deeper in my curiosity. The channel on YouTube is about challenging you to be brilliant. So I was intuitively led to explore the Hermetic Principles, and I was kind of intrigued because they formed the foundation of many spiritual beliefs. What do I mean by that? Follow me in this. When we say everything is energy, it is. But what's forming the energy into matter? There's got to be something deeper, more profound. And Hermetic Principles say it's called a substantial reality. You can call this God. You can call this source, whatever. But the energy that flows and flows into matter comes from a source, and so do you. So what's deeper than your belief systems? Have you ever realized that they might have brought you to this point, but now you're supposed to open up and explore some new topics? Because just like energy is guided by information from source, from God, you are informed from the field of potential to live your life in this realm. So a belief system should be many different belief systems as you integrate into your authenticity. It doesn't come from just one. So let's get started. So I'm going to go slow with this because this is very profound. And I had to read this chapter a couple times in the Kybalion because I had to think of what it was really saying. And this first principle of the Hermetic Principles is that the all is mind, the universe is mental. Now, we're not talking about the brain. We're talking about the divine mind. Even at the end of his life, Max Planck, a quantum physicist, said that everything seems to flow from the divine mind. So in Hermetic Principles, they call the divine mind the all. And I like that because the all is undefinable. It is infinite. It is limited. So why bring it down into a belief system that tries to force it to fit a box? I don't think that's how it should be. So when it says that the universe is mental, it doesn't mean your brain. It means that your heart and your brain connect with the field. There are receptors in your brain that connect with the field of potential, the quantum field, source the information in the field to manifest here on earth what is the potential flowing through you in the field. This comes from your intuition. If you're living life just in the perception of a 3D reality, you're not really living life as you've been destined to be put into time. So when it says that the all is mind and the universe is mental, it's calling on the infinite living mind that you are intimately entangled with, expressing your divine nature in your humanity. And everybody's path is different. The universe, what we see, is a creation of the divine mind, which is God. Everything you see, you're not separate from it. You're entangled in the divine mind. And so the nature of reality is connected to consciousness. Consciousness is fundamental to the universe. And I believe that just like we cannot put a label or a definition on God, although religion tries, we cannot also adequately define consciousness. It's not just energy. It's the foundational element of the universe. It is how we respond in our awareness to living in our incarnation. It is very unique. So the nature of reality is connected to consciousness, and this living mind expresses itself within and through heart-brain coherence, connecting us outside of time to express within our incarnation. For all my years in Christianity, it was never stressed to be anything other than the model that it set forth, or religion set forth. I never wanted that model. I wanted to be who I was. I didn't want Jesus to be a savior. He's not a savior. Neither is he the way. He is a model of living a quantum life, never drawing attention to himself or any other master out there that's a true master of Hermetic Principles or whatever. They do not draw attention to themselves to try to be an influencer or to try to get you to go in a certain direction. They're giving you an example in how to flow in your life within intuition and synchronicities. So we're not talking about mental brain perception in a 3D reality, but bringing an intuitive flow within our incarnation. There's got to be within us an intuitive resolve, not in any way allowing your humanity or my humanity to be controlled or decimated through technological control, religious control, or any such thing. And this perceptive encouragement of the universe being mental and the all is mind, it's a fascinating principle. So in Hermetic Principles, God or Source, according to the Kybalion and the initiatives, is unknowable, undefinable, and infinite. That bothers a whole lot of people. They want to bring him down. They want to make sure they can define him. And they want to make sure they have a way to walk in. They need a model. But what happens if the reason that the all or God is undefinable, unknowable, and infinite is simply because it encourages you to integrate a journey of authenticity? What do I mean by that? Well, I am very creative and I'm very intuitive. I can sometimes look at a person and I get a statement in my mind for that person. It's not showing them the actual way, but it's pointing them in a direction. Are you clairaudient? Are you clairsentient? Are you telepathic? Are you a remote viewer? All those things incorporate psychic phenomenon within the living divine mind in how to live in this planet from a higher realm. Yet how often have we been told that that's woo-woo or it doesn't matter? Who gives a crap? Flow in another realm while you're here right now. Do not buy into a 3D reality that tries to force you to control. Now, we are in the world, but not of it. So in the Hermetic Principles of God being unknowable, undefinable, and infinite, they've decided to say that this deity or this substantial reality would better be called the all. And again, some people don't like that because they want it nailed down. But what's wrong with that? It means that your life is a constant journey of exploration to see how the all, the living infinite mind, is going to manifest in your life very uniquely and very creatively. This is called evolution. Now, we're not talking about Darwin's evolution. I was actually a biology major, even though I love quantum science. I was a biologist and a mathematician in school. So we learned that Darwin proposed that it's the survival of the fittest. It's all competition and it's whoever makes it. But that's not really our evolution. Our evolution simply means that we are changing within a certain direction. What does that mean? If you're changing and you're evolving into a direction that is dictated to you by that which is outside of you, you're not really evolving. You're complying. You're conforming. You're putting yourself in a box. But neither do you have to prove anything to anybody because you're trying to get somewhere. This flows in a sense of peace that suddenly within yourself, in your evolution, as you begin to know yourself because of the living divine mind that is constantly buoying you up above the waves, constantly giving you courage to be yourself. You do not have to prove anything to anybody. That means you don't have to answer everybody. You don't have to be like anybody. And you have nothing to prove and nothing to lose. And that is an incredibly beautiful place to be. So this evolution, also in my life, involved an evolution in belief systems. It was impossible for me to experience an ascension, an evolution within one belief system. But the integration of many belief systems formed my expansion and my increase in light to the point that every day I wake up and I understand those subtle nuances in me that say, go this way, don't go that way. I'll give you an example that was very subtle. I was on my way to Walmart, and I kept thinking, I didn't want to go to Walmart. I should have gone to Target. But inside myself, I kept thinking to myself, Walmart's cheaper. But I knew that I was supposed to go to Target. So suddenly I'm walking in Target, and I hit the aisle where they had knee braces. And yes, I'm having some knee problems, but you know what? They're getting better. So I'm looking at the braces, and this woman is on the same aisle. She looks up at me, and we start talking. And she starts talking about her knee. And then she looks at me, and she says, you don't want knee replacement surgery. You can do better than that. You can believe in yourself that it heals your knee. And I grabbed her, and I said, I was going to Walmart today, but I knew my intuition said to come to Target. So I left so incredibly enthusiastic. Why? Well, because basically she told me what I already knew, but I knew that after 5 years of not being able to flow, my intuition has been somewhat shut down due to grief. Every day is providing a sense of awe and wonder. Why? Because I have deconstructed from every belief system that is calling me to comply to a certain reality in which I'm not. So this involves an evolution in belief systems, and it's impossible to experience an ascension into greater degrees of light, into greater degrees of intuition from an evolution of one belief system. It's not going to happen. As the cosmos is changing and as we are shifting into new timelines, you're not going to be, everything is showing to move. The cry of this planet right now is to move one step at a time into the reality of who you are. So the all is mind and the universe is mental. Here's the quote by Max Planck. All matter originates and exists only by virtue of a force which brings the particles of an atom to vibration and holds this most minute solar system of the atom together. We must assume behind this force the existence of a conscious and intelligent mind. The mind is the matrix of all matter. This was Max Planck. When he got to the end of his life, after studying science, after studying quantum, his theory of everything, which scientists are now trying to pinpoint, why is this happening? They're never going to do that. Do you think that the all can be narrowed down into a verse? Do you think that the all can be narrowed into a belief system? It would cease to be the all. It would cease to be the divine mind in which you are entangled. So Max Planck, at the end of his life, said, I've come to the conclusion that, yeah, there's good things about science and we should expand in quantum realities, but nobody's ever really going to know what we know except that they see it as the divine mind, that there is a force. The Hermeticism says it's a substantial reality. It doesn't matter what you call it. It is leading and guiding your life in the beautiful authenticity of who you are. Do not negate that there is a divine mind. There is a creator that is much more infinite than we could ever expect it to be. And yet on this planet, religion has pulled it down into such a narrow perception that it's geared to a 3D perception. You are not that, and that's all. Now, let me say a few more things. The all, as Hermeticists say, is called substantial reality. It underlies all the outward manifestations and appearances. If you're entangled with the all and you come into time, you didn't start here, you're not going to end here. So what happens is anything you manifest is either going to come from your ego, from a 3D reality, or the beauty of what you manifest will come from the energy of powerful love within you. And it is time for a manifestation. It's not just time to always talk. What are you doing with your life? How are you living your life? It's really quite simple, and nobody needs to really know any more than I knew to go to Target instead of Walmart, because it wasn't as important as I tell you, as much that when I left Target, I was just like, I got goosebumps now thinking about it. It was life, no matter what they, the proverbial they, the elites, the controllers, I will not comply. I will not comply with anything or anyone that denigrates my divine humanity to flow in my psychic abilities now in time for such a time as this. The material universe is matter and energy. It's you in this realm. You are a material in this realm. You are of a low denigration, a low energy that you're going to have a time limit on you unless something changes. We're not eternal. We're eternal inside, but our body will shift. So what do you believe? Do you believe that you are here in time for such a time as this? I believe that I don't feel 70. I feel 40, but my body sometimes says otherwise. And then I talk to my body and I simply say to my body, you're going to do good. I do not believe we have to follow the narrative. So the all, God, Spirit, is unknowable and undefinable. I want to stress that. Can be known as the universal, infinite, living mind. Any attempt to define the all by a particular set of beliefs, such as a man, is simply bringing down the infinite to your sense of understanding, which boxes God into a particular belief. That drives me crazy. The universe is a mental creation of the all. We are not the only universe. There are many other universes out there. It's called the metaverse. And there is a womb of all creation from which flows all the metaverses. Gnostic theology, which Christians have tried to speak in their direction. But that's not really Gnostic theology. Gnostic theology believed that there was a Sophia, a beautiful goddess who inhabits the planet called Gaia. So there's many belief systems out there. So what I want to do is just challenge you to pick your path, to explore, to not settle on the surface of just shallow belief systems. What belief systems causes you to integrate into the beauty of who you are? It's very simple. Only you will know. So how do you change your life? Do you know that the Hermeticists believed in divine astrology? They believed in divine alchemy. And alchemy was initially changing something into gold. I haven't studied it yet. But what about you? Do you alchemize your life? Well, how do you alchemize your life? It's called through mental transmutation. What does that mean? Well, let me make it simple. It's connecting to the potential of the field in your divine humanity. Transmutation means you are changing. You are transforming your mental state, your form, your condition into an ascension of a higher mental state and transition. This is the reality in science that isn't. It's a metaphysical look at science. It's not science as it stands. It's not spirituality as it stands, but it's both that are integrated together. You are called to transmute things. Do you know there are gurus in India in the book of the Hologram by Michael Talbert that are literally manifesting food in the villages? Well, how did they get to that point? Well, it was their unique journey. How do you think Jesus, whether or not you even believe anything about Jesus, if I recall correctly, what about the loaves and the fishes? Do you think that's just allegory? It could be. But what if it's real? What if the manifestation of our mental transmutation allows us to stand on the shore and say, no, this tsunami won't come in? What if Lynn McTaggart, in her Power of Eight, they sit and it's documented evidence that when they sit in meditation circles, they can change. It's been documented that they have changed the crime in a city. The statistics have gone down. Why? It is the energy from the divine mind of the power of love. That doesn't mean how many of you have been in hours of intercession. You know, I remember when I was a minister, I was the leader of intercession and we begged and we pleaded and nothing ever happened. Well, it's mental transmutation. If you do not know the I am essence of who you are, then you can voice everything that's necessary, but it will not change a thing. Beliefs don't change because you are given a belief. Beliefs change because your heart is entangled with the belief, and then you live life. What is saying that we cannot right now change the energy on this planet away from tribalism, away from all the wars and the death by simply being who we are and believing it? It is not a love and light, etheric, new age BS. It is the power in how we live our lives. So transmutation, it's a part of reality. It's always changing. It's always transforming. Are you transforming your mental state outside of the box of a belief system? Then you may start a journey where you literally become no thing. You're nothing. That's not a bad place to be, because when you're no thing is when you've detached from everything that you perceive has defined you. And maybe for a month, 2 months, a year, a day, you sit and you succumb and submit to the simple process of, I don't know who I am. I don't know what I want. I don't know what drives my passion. Do you know how many of us are in that right now? I don't even know how to explain the reality of what many are facing right now. I think our passion in times past was driven from a false belief system or from a set of beliefs that showed we have to show up and prove ourselves. But what happens if we become no thing in the all and let the transmutation of that energy of the divine mind? How do you know it won't flow in a new direction? I'm getting new ideas all the time, and I found that I was afraid to step out in them. Why? I didn't trust myself, didn't believe in myself. But now all these new ideas are coming to me. I'm writing them down, and I'm waiting for the divine timing to move out. So we are always evolving. We are always transmuting. And so the transmutation of mental states can lead to the point of changing ourselves, and it could lead to the point of actually having a physical state change. Again, I mean, why can't we? If you see an approaching hurricane, why can't the energy change the direction of the planet? I believe it's possible. And with what's coming, and a lot of you do not know some of the beliefs I hold. I don't make them apparent. I'm not called to teach them. But if there's an interference on this planet right now, trying to get us to comply in ways that is providing an illusion of what we're seeing, yet we're buying into it. It's exactly what they want, whether they be government or technology, however you look at it. But once we come out of that state, we begin to see things clearly, and then we begin to first transmute our life, and then we begin to know we can change this planet and shift it into a new timeline. This is not, it's not woo-woo, it's reality. There has never been a time like this. And if you listen to a lot of channelers talk, you'll see that they often talk about this very thing. So we are mental alchemists. We change nature. We can manifest physical realities in time. We have psychic phenomena. And how often were we told that was evil or that was demonic? I know for a fact I'm clairaudient and I am clairsentient. What about you? Do you see things? Do you know things that you've disregarded, but you just know that you know that you know? And are you afraid? Are you still bound by some belief systems and saying? And I'm telling you, I ever since I was a child, I will get one-liners. Like I gave a one-liner to somebody the other day, and I said, here's what I hear. And that one-liner opened a door for them to move through. I'm also clairaudient. I hear these one-liner, but I also get pictures. And it's like I get a picture of a bridge. And then when I look at the bridge and then I attempt to go through it, then a whole expansive field of intuition opens up to me. Our life is supposed to be exciting, and that is why this mass psychosis formation is consuming the planet. It's all controlled, people. You're free. Break out of it. So let's end with a few things. So mental transmutation looks beyond the realm of limited perception, which only deals with changes in matter and form. And it makes you easily controlled. If religion can control you with a mental transmutation and you thinking you need a savior, when you wake up, you're going to get mad. But the next step should be, as you deconstruct, you should then start exploring new areas of your life, psychic abilities you never knew you had. So everything is always changing. Can you actually grasp the reality of the infinite, the unchangeable, the unknowable God source? It's always changing. Yet we try to ascribe all the characteristics, all the qualities, all the personalities, and the properties of humans. That's ridiculous, people. So now how does this affect me? I always like to... how do I take all these things? You know, I'm a Gemini, I'm a communicator. I am always reading, always studying. I love it. In fact, the joke is always, good God, how do you switch? We're talking about this, and how do How do you start talking about that? And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm on the road, I'm talking about this, but suddenly an idea comes and it go in that direction. But don't worry, I'll get back on the road. I'm able to think a lot. So how did all these teachings affect me? Because if my spirituality does not affect my life, then what's the use of it? Well, I'll tell you how it affects me. There is nothing that exists outside the all. It's called entanglement in quantum. It's unity, it's wholeness. So I am open to people of all sorts, to be curious. I know that on this planet right now, there is not one religion. There is not one nation that is leading the way. We are conscious of everyone being entangled at different parts of their walk, and that is the love that we're supposed to embody. There is not anyone better than me or lesser than me. And so this planet, in moving toward a wholeness and a oneness, is showing me that when nothing exists outside the all, I have to know myself. And then I have to let things go, add things. But I do not become self-centered or self-absorbed. I start to flow in the essence of I am, which is very important, the element in the field. So I don't anchor. I move. Now, a lot of people have used that against me, saying I'm flighty, you're not grounded. It's who I am, folks. I may talk about the Hermetic Principles and then in a month start talking about quantum science. It is who I am. Who are you? Maybe you're a teacher. You're going to take people on a definite route. Then stay on the route. Let me be me and I'll let you be you. So there is nothing. When I realize this divine entanglement, it empowers my love with clear focus and observation. I am able to see through things that are not love, that are presenting itself as beneficiary to the planet, but as sheer bullshit. When you're moving in the power of entanglement, it does not mean that you accept everything at face value. You are able to see right through it, and you are able to either keep it to yourself and move on, or you're able to confront it. You choose. Another thing I realize is that the all is infinite, manifesting in and through me in time. I am infinite, even in space and time, ready to access the here and now. It changes my perception of how I approach my day. And I try not to get locked down in, yes, we live in a 3D world. We have jobs, we have children, we have family. That's all a given, but how do you approach that? Do you approach it in the reality of your divinity, or do you approach it, well, I gotta do this, and I'm just waiting for the now to come, or the new to come, but you're in the now. So the new is not gonna come until you anchor into the now, and the new will reveal itself as you're anchored in the now. It's the power of gratitude, and folks, I've had to learn it. I've had to learn it big time, because I got so negative for a while that it was like I didn't want to see anything. I was down on myself and everybody else. But I didn't want to bring forth the power of gratitude falsely. I didn't want to just, oh, I'm love and light, I'm so grateful, when inside I was like, this is effing bullshit. Do I not think the divine knows and sees right in me and through me? I had to be honest. I had to develop an attitude of gratitude, and that was empowering. In order to manifest, I no longer define myself by one belief system. I look at many belief systems and I integrate them individually within me. Another thing, how this changes my life, there is nothing outside the all, or source, or prime reality. This changes my perception to truly see this planet as whole. And in doing that, I then see how I see forces that are dark and evil, and I pull away from them immediately. I don't always talk about them. That's something you need to see. There are things going on right now, but I don't focus on it. I try to focus on seeing it and then knowing I'm moving in a different way. I will not buy into tribalism. I will not buy into division, black against white, Asian against America, China. Oh my God, aren't you sick of it? Aren't you sick of the climate of war and death and narcissism? It is up to you to change it. It is not enough just to listen to it. How will you do what you can with what you have where you are? You're not involved with changing the whole planet. You have a distinct impression, a distinct location in the divine mind where you exert powerful divinity to change not only the area in which you live, but to change people and to change locations. You are powerful beyond belief. So how do I end this? Let me just read what I wrote. Each of our journeys is unique and creative. Why? Well, because I've been locked down most of my life. So I could help a 30-year-old or a 40-year-old or a 50-year-old attain this level of freedom quicker than I being locked down in what everybody thought of me or religion. And I've had those stories on other Facebook pages. If I can tell you that you're brilliant, I'm not shooting you a line of BS. I mean it. And if you were sitting across the table from me, drinking a glass of wine or a margarita or a coffee, when you said something that downed yourself, I would think about it, but then I would speak life, because I will not tolerate anybody that is putting themselves down on the basis of religion, on the basis of fear, on the basis of complying with a narrative. You are greater than that. And it takes to be still and know. So love reveals how I accept and challenge, and I never comply to the obvious control. I don't get angry, but I'm learning to simply flow outside of time, in time. I carefully guard my heart and my perception. It's like when I'm listening to what's going on in the world, I step back and try to see the overall, try to see through it, try to see above it, try to see around it. I never take the narrative. What you see is not what you get. There is power in my life to access divinity in my humanity through intuition. And I'm living it. I'm teaching this simply because I was watching a podcast, and in the podcast, he said Hermetic Principles. And suddenly time stood still, and it was like my heart was moving toward the TV, and the sound was moving toward my heart. And I knew that interaction meant that I was to teach this, and I was to learn along the way in the journey. So I can't stress enough on how intuition is leading my life, and it's leading my life in awe and wonder. And I have joy, true, real joy. And so I hope this has helped you. It's a miracle I'm on here, because I don't know if you struggled with it, but this morning I couldn't access Facebook for 3 hours. I thought the account was hacked. I actually had to Google and ask, is there something wrong with Facebook? And yes, there was. For many millions of people around the face of the planet, Facebook went down. So I didn't even know if I could get on. So who are you? How are you going to manifest that? That's very important. You're never going to be truly at peace, truly joyful, until you manifest who you are. And nobody can really tell you. They can provide a signpost along the way, but you have nothing to prove and you have nothing to lose. So next week, I'll talk about Hermetic principles of rhythm, or vibration, or polarity, and I will always share with you how these affected my life. I love you. I hope this encouraged you. Now move on. Take some things I said that really touched you. Leave the rest. Have a great day.